Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's John Campea, and this is a companion video. What is a companion video? Well, I'm awfully glad that you asked. You see, every day on the John Campea Show, and when I do open mics, I take live questions from the audience, but we don't always have time to get around to all of the live questions that get sent in, so I want to make sure those questions get answered in a video, so I gather up those unused questions, and I bring them here, and I address them in a companion video. So, without wasting any time, let's dive right into it. And the first question we're getting caught up on here today comes to us from Preston Walden, who writes, Spike Lee and Richard E. Grant's first Oscar nominations. Congrats. The thing that really kills me that that's Spike Lee's first Oscar nomination. Like, Robert mentioned that to me the other day, and I said, no way. No way that can actually be true. Like, Spike Lee, he didn't get nominations for this, that, or the other thing. And if I look up Spike Lee, and I go to his IMDb right now, and I look up his awards thing, we are going to see that, yep, no Academy Award nominations, but he's got them now. He's got one for Best Directing, Best Screenplay, and of course is a producer for Best Picture of the Year, all for BlacKkKlansman. So, yep, hasn't had any up till now. And now he's got 3. And Richard E. Grant in Can You Ever Forgive Me? That's a movie that's getting a lot of attention and buzz right now. So, good on them, and congratulations to both of them. All right, Ben Rayner writes, over under 35% Game of Thrones trailer during Super Bowl. I'm going to give it a big fat 0. I don't think HBO is going to advertise on the Super Bowl. And I really don't think they need to. They need to promote the coming of it, but they don't need to do it at the Super Bowl. So I'm actually going to go next to 0. I mean, I suppose it's possible if they wanted to make a big splash, but I'll be very surprised. Let's just put it that way. I'll be very surprised if they do. So I'm going to guess absolutely no. So I'll take the under on 35%. All right. Samuel Pole writes, the best popular category doesn't seem so bad now. I'd rather a nothing award exists than taint Best Picture with undeserved nominees like Bohemian. Look, here's the thing. We're all going to have films in there that we don't think deserve to be in there because we think some other films deserve to be in there, right? Like, I wouldn't have put Bohemian Rhapsody on the list, but I love Bohemian Rhapsody. I wouldn't have put Black Panther on the list, but I love Black Panther. Bohemian Rhapsody was probably the best musical biopic of the year. Black Panther wasn't the best comic book movie of the year, but at least they're great films. And I'll tell you what, I love Bohemian Rhapsody. Again, I personally wouldn't have put it on the nominees list, but I mean, it's not going to win, right? And look, the reality is, when the Academy did what everybody wanted them to do and expand the Best Picture nominee list from 5 films to more, well, that means you're going to get some films on there that otherwise in other years wouldn't have gotten a Best Picture nomination, right? When you nominate 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 movies for Best Picture, yes, some of them don't belong there. But that's part of the reality of us living in a world now where we have more than 5 nominees. So would I have put Black Panther on there? No. Would I have put Bohemian Rhapsody on there? No. But at the very least, they're really great films. And I can see why other people will feel that they deserve to be on there. So, hey, more power to both of them. More power to both of them. All right. Brian Esparza writes, can't believe Won't You Be My Neighbor didn't get a nomination. Like I said, to me, there are only 2 snubs. Because I believe snub is a word that is used way too loosely by some people. Snub means really egregious. And the only way you can make an argument that something is truly an egregious omission from the nominees list is if it had a legit shot at winning and maybe should have won. With that definition, I only found 2 real snubs in this year's Academy Award list. I mean, Ashes should have been nominated from Celine Dion, but it wasn't, but I'm not going to call that a snub because it probably wasn't going to win. Won't You Be My Neighbor should have not only been nominated, it should win Best Documentary. It should win. So its omission from the list, I consider a snub. Toni Collette, I'm not going to flat out say she should win, but you can make a damn good argument that she could have won. Toni Collette for Hereditary not getting a nomination, I also believe is a snub. But those are the only 2. Those are the 2 I've got this year. And every year with so many categories and so many nominees, there are going to be something that somebody considers a snub every year. There's just no way around it. All right. Let's see. Chris Warden writes, as an unapologetic fan of all 5 Michael Bay Transformers movies, You got a tough stomach, my friend. I was really surprised on how much I liked Bumblebee. And if this is the future of the franchise, then I'm all for it. Dude, you're not the only one. Now, look, I hate all the Transformers movies except for the first one. I quite like the first one. I didn't like the other ones, but whether you're somebody like me and you hated all those other ones, whether you're somebody like you, Chris, and you liked the Transformers movies, I think we were all pleasantly surprised by that Bumblebee movie, man. I wasn't ready. The difference between Travis Knight's Bumblebee and all the Michael Bay films, Travis Knight brought true heart. He brought heart to it. He brought something that had never been there, even in the good Transformers movie, something that was never really there before. And I found it surprising. I'm not surprised Travis Knight did a good job. He's the guy who directed Kubo and the Two Strings. Of course, he's going to do a good job, but I wasn't anticipating that good. And a pleasant surprise for all of us, Chris. Pleasant surprise for all of us. All right. Zane Hashmi writes, so, John, is Joseph Gordon-Levitt going to be Nightwing? Oh, that's a throwback. LOL, back in the AMC days when this was the only question that came up every day during the show. I'll tell you what, this is a topic that got me so much hate. So much hate. You know, when The Dark Knight Rises came out, and they reveal at the end of The Dark Knight Rises that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character's legal name is Robin. Those of us who kept a calm mind all knew, oh, that's Christopher Nolan giving a little wink to the audience. It's not saying that he was Robin, because Robin's real legal name wasn't Robin. It wasn't anything like that. It was just him going to the audience. It was just a fun little tip of the cap, as Christopher Nolan. And actually, that's what Christopher Nolan once said. It's just a tip of the cap to the fans. He was not Robin. He was not becoming Nightwing. Oh my God. Everybody was convinced he was going to be Nightwing. But John, they said Robin, and he's in the Batcave at the end. It's like they explain all of that in the movie, and he ain't Robin. Nobody would listen. And I got so much blowback and so many people mad. You wait, John, he's going to be Nightwing. He's going to be Nightwing. Of course, he never was Nightwing. So yeah, but it's amazing. That went on for months, and over 6 months that went on. Actually, over a year that went on. People, even a year later, people were convinced they were going to do another one, and he was going to be that. Oh, and he's going to be Batman. And even some sites ran with stories. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's going to be Batman. He was never going to be Batman. But that was the big thing for a long time. That was the big thing for a long time. Thanks for bringing back up, Zane. Anyway, the Babbick writes, who is on your superhero Mount Rushmore? I don't know. I mean, that all depends. Like superheroes in the comics, superheroes in movies, superheroes in television shows. You got to be a little bit more specific. I have said before, my all-time favorite comic book character is Magneto. Magneto is my all-time favorite comic book character. So, I don't know. I'm pulling names out of my ass. I mean, obviously Magneto, because he's my all-time favorite character. You got to have Batman and Superman up there. I love Bishop. Gosh. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to, and you'd have to be a little bit more specific than that. A superhero in which context? In which context? Okay. I'm Upset writes, worst Dracula film, Drac 2000 or Dracula Untold? No, my friend. The worst Dracula film was Blade Trinity. Remember that they had Dracula in that? Yeah. That was the worst Dracula movie. Worse than Dracula 2000, worse than Dracula Untold. Beyond a shadow of a doubt to me, Blade 3 was the worst of the Dracula movies. All right, Wesley Cunningham writes, saw Glass last night and I loved it. Didn't get the sense of pandering to comic fans myself, but looking back, I could see how some could. Well, I mean, that's the subjectivity nature of film, but yeah, to me, the pandering was clear and plain. If you had a nickel for every time they said superhero, superpowers, superhero, superpowers, comic books, superpowers, comic superpower, comic superpowers, heroes, comics, powers, you'd be a very, very rich person coming out. They couldn't say 3 words without saying superhero, comic books, superpowers, comic superpower, comic books, heroes, poop. Like they just, and they didn't understand the audience, but they kept completely trying to pander to them. But whatever, and I could forgive that, I think, if the movie was better. And I had maybe some unrealistic high expectations. I was really looking forward to the movie, and I just thought it was bad. But you know what? There's stuff in there. There are redeeming things in there, including a ridiculous performance by James McAvoy. And Wesley, you like it, and there are other people who like it too, and it worked for some people, and that's great. And it didn't work for some others, and that's fine too. I happen to be one of the people that it didn't work for. But anyway, Biniam Gaming writes, imagine DCU if Disney owned DC. How would it look? I mean, I don't know. It all depends on who they put in charge over DC. The property will look will be most directly to whoever's in charge of it. I mean, obviously Kevin Feige wouldn't be in charge of it. He's running the Marvel brand, just like Kathleen Kennedy's running the Star Wars brand, and they got people running the Pixar brand and people running the Disney animation brand. They would somebody run that. So, I mean, all I know is that Bob Iger wouldn't be running it, so it wouldn't look like Marvel. They'd have somebody else in charge. It's impossible to guess. It would all depend on who they put in charge over it. Pelican Mike writes, John, do you like the Family Guy Star Wars episodes? I really do. I really do. I think they call them Blue Harvest. I like them a lot. I like the Robot Chicken Star Wars stuff. I like the Family Guy Star Wars stuff. Yeah, I like that stuff. I find it pretty funny. Javier Riaz 405 writes, have you seen Johnny English 3 yet? Nope. Which is too bad because I really like Johnny English 1 and 2. I'm not ashamed to say it. I like Johnny English 1 and 2, and everybody loves Rowan Atkinson, everybody loves Mr. Bean, but the movie looked so bad to me. And then I heard from people I know who saw it that they really hated it. So like, it looks terrible to me, and people I know are saying it's terrible. I'm going to take a pass. Do I really want to take one of my evenings I could be spending with my wife, or I could be spending watching some of the other things I'm behind on, to go see a movie that I think looks bad? People are telling me it's bad, and I'd be disappointed if I watch a Johnny English is bad. So, I took a pass on it. I'll watch it someday on home video. Mark Nava writes, although I don't necessarily agree with the choice, the Black Panther nomination is a huge step forward for African American representation, Marvel, and the overall superhero genre. There is no doubt it's a huge step forward for the superhero genre. Last year it was Logan getting a Best Screenplay nomination. This year it's Black Panther getting a Best Picture nomination. You know, I said on Heroes, the Weekly Hero, I should say this week, that, we can debate whether or not the right comic book movie got nominated. We can debate that. You guys know I put up a poll. 53% of you said Infinity War was the best comic book movie of the year. 32% of you said Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and only 7% of you guys said that Black Panther was even the best comic book movie of the year. So we can debate that. But let's debate that later. I mean, I think it was worth pointing out. Yes, Black Panther got a Best Picture nomination without any nominations in any other major categories. Director, actor, actress, supporting actress, screenplay, or cinematography, no nominations. That's only happened 3 times in the last 25 years. But Avengers Infinity War didn't have Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Screenplay, or Cinematography Oscar nominations either. Neither did Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So we can debate and argue about whether the right comic book movie got nominated, and I don't think the right one did, but right now the bigger picture is a comic book movie got nominated for Best Picture. And that's something that I think is a big thing for all comic book movie fans, whether you lean Marvel or whether you lean DC. I think if you're a true comic book movie fan, this is good news for all of us. And yes, we can, and we will, over the coming months and whatever, we will debate whether the right one got it. I don't think the right one did, but hey, at least a comic book movie got nominated for Best Picture, and I'm happy about that. So, yeah, there's that. All right, Guz Wizard writes, over under 25%, Kang appears in Endgame. I'll take the way under 25%. I'm not going to say it's impossible. I'm not going to say 0, but I will take way under 25%. Wesley, pardon me, Wesley Cunningham writes, think a poor critical performance could really damage the Shyamalan-sance? It won't help. It won't help. Glass has not helped. But here's the thing. While I am somebody who did not like Glass, it's nowhere near as bad as Lady in the Water, The Happening, Last Airbender thing. It's nowhere anywhere near as bad as those. Like, those were atrocious. Glass to me was just bad. Not horrible. Not the worst thing I've seen. Not a crime against humanity like some of his other films. It was just bad. And remember, he's 2 out of 3 for his last 3 films, because 2 films ago, he did The Visit, and that was a good little movie. And then his last film was Split, and that was a good little movie. So, will this help his career? No. But will it hurt him too much? I don't know that it's going to hurt him too much. I still think he's gathered up a little bit of goodwill over the last while. And there are a number of people who like Glass. Let's not forget that. There are a number of people who like Glass too. So, help? No. Hurt? Not terribly much. Not yet. James Argenta writes, biggest snub in your opinion, Won't You Be My Neighbor, Chalamet, Blunt, Foy, If Beale Street Could Talk for Best Picture, John David Washington. Again, to me, the only true snubs are Won't You Be My Neighbor and Toni Collette. Blunt was by no means a shoo-in, nor a real heavy possibility to win that category. Neither was Foy. Beale Street Could Talk, at best, would be a far, far outside chance of winning. John David Washington, at best, would be a far, far... Now, I would have had no problem if Blunt got nominated, if Foy got nominated, if Beale Street Could Talk got nominated, if John David... That would have been fine by me, had those got nominated. But there's no real compelling argument that they would have been serious contenders to win, you know? And if something's not a serious contender to win, I don't think you call it a snub. I think you call it, that one was an oversight. Ashes, oversight, you know? So yeah, that's the way I feel about it, but you feel about it a little bit differently, James, and that's totally cool. All right, Stubble McShave writes, Wheel of Time starts filming in Prague in September. Yeah, I heard something about that. I'm not a Wheel of Time fan. I know a lot of people are. So I'm happy for those of you who are Wheel of Time fans. Javier Rios 405 writes, has Robert seen Glass? I believe he has, yes, although he's not here for me to ask him that directly. Guy Wizard writes, Black Panther is good. Not Best Picture. I think the Oscar should be strictly about movie quality, so this is disappointing to me. Well, see, here's the thing, though. I'm with you, Gus. Guz, I should say. I wouldn't have given Black Panther a Best Picture nomination. I don't think it should have been nominated for Best Picture. But let's not make excuses for why other people did vote for it. They voted for it because they feel it was one of the best of the year. I disagree. You disagree. But that's fine. Let's not start making up make-believe excuses so we can feel better about our opinions. Oh, they just did it for the political reasons. Really? Where does it say that? Who said that? Who said, I'm voting for it for political reasons? Nobody? Okay, then, shut up. Stop making excuses for why other people didn't do something the way you would have done it. And that's the biggest thing and I'm guilty of this too, Gus. I am guilty of this too. That's the biggest thing we as movie fans have to get over. Making up excuses for why other people, whether it's other fans, filmmakers, or the Academy, had a different opinion about something than we did. The Academy felt it was one of the best pictures of the year. I disagree. I think they're wrong. But let's not make up excuses saying, oh, they only voted for it because of this. You're making up excuses, and you are more mentally tough than that. You are mentally tougher than that. Let's not do the mentally weak thing of making up excuses for why other people didn't agree with us. And again, I can't highlight this enough. I don't think Black Panther should have been nominated for Best Picture. But it's a great movie. And other people on the Academy thought it was great enough to include in their nomination. Okay, that's all there is to it. And you can whine and complain and make up excuses about why other people don't have your opinion, but they just didn't have your opinion. They saw it that way, they nominated it. So I will discuss and debate the merits of Black Panther to be nominated, but you're never going to hear me say, they only did it for this. It gives the appearance of that a little bit. I admit that it does. It gives a little bit of that appearance. But again, let's not start making up excuses. You weren't there in the room. You weren't I'll tell you right now, my business partner at the stream, she was the senior vice president of Paramount Pictures for 20 years. And now she's my business partner at the stream. She's a voting member of the Academy. I'll tell you what, she thinks Black Panther deserved a Best Picture nomination. She didn't think so because of political reasons. She didn't think so because of this, that, or the other thing. She's a voting member of the Academy, and she felt it was one of the best. I disagree, but that's what she felt. So who are you, or who is anybody else to say, no, you just did it because of... No, she just did it because she thought it was one of the best. And I just think that's something we have to accept. And look, can't we just be happy that a comic book movie got... This is 2 years in a row that a comic book movie have gotten major nominations. Logan last year for Best Screenplay, should have been Best Picture, but got a nomination for Best Screenplay, one of the major nominations. And this year, Black Panther, that's 2 years in a row, guys. Let's just focus on being happy on that. Yes, we can discuss the wrong one got it, but let's just be happy about that for a little while. Wesley follows up with, percentage chance that Aquaman could hit, it's hitting me as I type this, and wow, $1.1 billion. It's got to be close. Hold on a second here. Aquaman box office. As of right now, Aquaman, and I never thought it was going to hit $1 billion in the first place, and yet here we are. It has made 1.07. Now, this past weekend at the box office, as I bring this up, where is my weekend? There it is. This past weekend at the box office, there we go. This past weekend at the box office, Aquaman was third place with $12 million. It only needs to make like 24, 26, 25 point something million dollars more. Yeah, it could. I mean, it's not going to, at this point, it's not going to hit 1.2. It's out of gas. The movie's out of gas. But it can get another 24, 25, 26 million. I'd say it's a pretty good chance. I mean, remember, though, you're talking to the guy who never thought it would make $1 billion in the first place, right? So, yeah, I think it's got a pretty decent chance at this point to get to 1.1. I don't think 1.2 is realistic at this point because, like I said, it looks like it's out of gas now, but it can make that extra 25 to get to 1.1, I think. All right. Raymond Verrata writes, no Peter Farrelly, Bradley Cooper noms for Best Director, sets up Roma for Best Picture win, or Green Book can do an Argo. Glenn Close for the EGOT. Yeah, so one of the things, an interesting statistic I pointed out on the show the other day was in the, oh gosh, how many years? Look, let me just look this up because I've just been guessing too much. How many Academy Academy Awards have there been? We are going into the 91st. Wow, we're going into the 91st. So, in the 91-year history of the Academy Awards, only 4 times in 91 years has a movie won Best Picture when their director was not nominated for Best Director. Only 4 times in 91 years has a movie won Best Picture without its director being nominated for Best Director. The last time it happened was Ben Affleck winning for Argo. Or Ben Affleck was not nominated for Best Director, but Argo won Best Picture. I believe the time before that was Driving Miss Daisy. And that's going back, to the early 90s and the 80s? I can't even remember. And then before that, you're going back to the 1930s. All right? 4 times only. I thought the 3 lead horses for Best Picture were, in no particular order, Green Book, Roma, and A Star is Born. Well, Roma is the only one whose director was also nominated for director. That means Green Book's director not nominated, Star is Born director not nominated. That means they have less than a 5% chance to win. Less than a 5%. 4 out of 91. So you're rocking about a 5% chance. Those aren't great odds. Those ain't great odds. To me, that means Roma is like a 92% lock. 92, 93% lock. So, yeah, I think at the nominations, they pretty much announced who Best Picture was going to win. They might as well have just announced it that Roma wins. So I don't, I mean, anything's possible. Anything is possible. But I'm going to be shocked if Roma doesn't win. I really do think Roma's going to win it now. Nathan Oswald writes, Black Panther Best Picture. Are you kidding me? Again, I don't agree. But hey, it's not like it was a crap movie that got nominated for Best Picture. It's a great movie. It's a wonderful movie. To me, third best comic book movie of the year. I put it above Venom. I put it above Aquaman. I put it above Ant-Man and the Wasp. I put it above the only two movies I don't put it above are Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, which to me was easily the best comic book movie of the year by far. And very, very close. Very, very close to Avengers Infinity War. But by and large, you guys think Avengers Infinity War. But yeah, it's hey, it is what it is. But at least a comic book movie got nominated. Curtis Lopez writes, I know you may not be happy about Black Panther getting a Best Picture nomination, but I'm happy it made history as the first comic book movie to be nominated. Look, I am happy that a comic book movie got nominated. It should have been Logan last year, but it didn't. And let's be honest, Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse wasn't going to get a Best Picture nomination. It should have, but it wasn't going to. And I don't think Avengers Infinity War was a Best Picture of the Year kind of movie either. Yeah, I've been pointing out that how can Black Panther be nominated for Best Picture without a Best Director, acting, screenwriting, or cinematography awards? Well, Infinity War wasn't nominated for directing, acting, cinematography, screenplay either. So, you know what? There is no clear-cut winner here, so I'm just glad a comic book movie got nominated. Yes, even if it's the third best comic book movie of the year, Black Panther. All right. Let's see. Kim Young-hoon writes, Bumblebee is well received in the box office, but it already started streaming in some regions. Is it to avoid competition with Aquaman and Spider-Man? I'm not quite sure what it is you're asking, Kim. I mean, it came out at roughly the exact same time as Aquaman and Spider-Man. So, I'm sorry. I'm not quite clear on what it is you're asking there, my friend. Justin McFarlane writes, can't believe Won't You Be My Neighbor was snubbed. Dude, to me, look, the Toni Collette thing was a major snub and a major shock. Won't You Be My Neighbor makes me angry. And I know Fred Rogers would not approve of me getting angry, but I'm just saying, the Mr. Rogers, the Won't You Be My Neighbor not getting nominated for Best Documentary, are you kidding me? That's a joke. That's the one I can't wrap my head around. It should have been the clear-cut, easy winner. It should have won the Academy Award for Best Documentary. Forget nomination, it should have won. To not even nominate it? I can only assume there must be some technical reason or something. Somebody forgot to include its name. I mean, I don't know. But that's the one that really gets me. All right. Wesley Cunningham writes, feels like McCarthy's nomination could change some opinions on her. Was starting to see her as a one-trick pony with her comedic style, but want to see this movie now. It's great. It's great. And I was a little bit late to the party on it, but it's wonderful. And look, I am a fan. I like Melissa McCarthy. Depending on the movie. There's some movies she's not so good, but there's some movies that her comedic stylings just crush it and knock it out of the park. But yeah, when we come to Won't You Please Forgive Me, she shows something I didn't know she was capable of. She shows tools in her belt that I did not know were there. And I'm happy for her. To be honest, I'm happy for her. And yeah, you should check it out. Grant's great in it. She's great in it. Yeah, check it out. It's getting a lot of Oscar love from different areas. Now, I don't think she's going to win or anything like that. But I think if you watch it, it will change the way you see her. Because she shows something in here that I don't think a lot of us thought she was capable of, which is pretty impressive. Razor's Edge Frisbee writes, I know you like Bohemian Rhapsody a lot, but do you find it weird that it got a Best Picture nomination after mixed critic reviews? No, every couple of years it seems to be like that. Again, not every movie will have critical and Academy agreement. Most of them do. Just like not like every movie will have critical and audience agreement. 95% of them do, but not all of them do. Not all Academy and fan favorite films will be in agreement. Mostly we do, but sometimes we don't. I mean, look, all I know is that I love Bohemian Rhapsody. I thought the movie was great. And the film critics are not the ones voting on the Academy Awards. So, but I mean, Rami Malek a lot of people put a lot of weight in performance. Rami Malek was one of the best performances of the year. There's that too. So, look, again, I wouldn't have nominated Bohemian Rhapsody for Best Picture, even though I love it. I had a wonderful time watching that film. It's great. But hey, a bunch of the Academy members felt it deserved it, and so they voted it in. So, and again, we live in an era where we have now up to 10 nominees instead of 5. The more nominees you have, the lower and lower quality movies will get into it. I mean, that's just math, right? So, it is what it is. I'm a little surprised, but not really. Alpha or Draogo writes, Black Panther has the best adjusted Rotten Tomatoes score in 2018. Sorry, I lost something over here. First of all, no, it does not have the best Rotten Tomatoes score in 2018. And has an A Cinema score and was the number one in American box office, but not by worldwide by a lot. Subjectivity aside, by all data, it's the best. Oh, bullshit, Alpha. Come on. First of all, there were a lot of films that had better and equal Rotten Tomato scores than did. And so here's the thing. I got into this discussion. Give me a second here. I got into a discussion with a friend of mine the other day who raised that exact same point. So you and my buddy must be reading the same bullshit somewhere. You, my friend, must be reading from the same bullshit source. That somebody said that, and now you two guys are just parroting it. Because my friend said almost the exact same thing to me. First of all, as far as A+, never listen to audience scores because they're all bullshit. Yes, Cinema Score is the most reliable, but it's a very small sample of people. And by the way, other films this year got A+ Cinema Scores. You know what else got an A+ Cinema Score? Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It didn't get nominated for Best Picture. Incredibles 2 got nominated or got an A+ Cinema Score. It didn't get nominated for Best Picture. Love, Simon got an A+ Cinema Score. It didn't get, that doesn't mean it didn't get the Best Picture nomination. And no, Black Panther is nowhere near the best critically rated film of the year. If I remember correctly, it ended up at a 97. Paddington 2 had a 100% rating. The only major wide release film this year to have 100% perfect rating. And by the way, I keep telling people this. You're misunderstanding how Rotten Tomatoes works. Rotten Tomatoes does not tell you how good a film is. Rotten Tomatoes, because all the critics who said Black Panther is good, maybe none of them thought it was the best picture of the year. All Rotten Tomatoes is a wide-ranging, widely diverse group of critics who simply say whether they like the movie or don't like the movie. That's all. Rotten Tomatoes doesn't tell you how good a movie is. Rotten Tomatoes just gives you a little bit of an indicator on what are the odds you may like it. Because of all the diverse, vastly different critics out there, 97% of them, even though they're totally different people from totally different backgrounds, totally different tastes, 97% of them said they at least like it. That tells a potential audience member, hey, it's not a guarantee, but there's a pretty good chance you're going to like this movie if you watch it. Not a guarantee, but a pretty good chance you're going to like it if you watch it. It is not a measurement of how good the film is. It only tells you how many liked it. That's all. And that's the beautiful thing about it. But even then, Black Panther did not get any of that. So Paddington blew it out of the water with 100%. It didn't get nominated for Best Picture. That Ben Foster movie, Without a Trace or Leave No Trace, it's either Leave No Trace or Without a Trace, with Ben Foster. That had a higher critic rating. I think that had 98. That one was really good. That one had 98. The one with the kid in school, 8th grade, I believe had a 98. That was higher. That was better, more well received. Won't You Be My Neighbor, which didn't even get nominated for Best Documentary, it had a 98. It had a much higher ranking as well. And you know what? Hold the horse. Let me just open up Rotten Tomatoes here. Hold a second here. Clicky. Okay. So, hold a second. Okay. Paddington 2, 100%. Leave No Trace. Oh, didn't have 98%. I'm sorry, and it's Leave No Trace, not Without a Trace. Leave No Trace, Ben Foster, had a 100% rating. 100%. It's not nominated for Best Picture. Eighth Grade I said 98. It's 99. Eighth Grade had a 99% rating. Won't You Be My Neighbor beat Black Panther with 98%. Can You Ever Forgive Me, the aforementioned Melissa McCarthy movie, beat Black Panther in Rotten Tomatoes ratings with 98%. And by the way, there was a whole slew of films that tied at that 97% with Black Panther. Mission Impossible, Spider-Verse, The Hate U Give. These are all so don't give me this, well, Black Panther's 97% proves that it deserves a Best Picture nomination. Bullshit. Now look, if you liked it enough that you feel it deserved a Best Picture nomination, aces. I got no argument with that. But I already listed off a whole ton of other films that got A+. None of them got Best Picture nominations. I listed a whole ton of them that had better or equal to Rotten Tomatoes ratings of Black Panther. None of them got nominated for Best Picture. So there goes your argument. See it going out the window and flying away? That was your argument. It's gone. It just flew away. And then as far as there was the number one American, that's an asterisk if I ever saw it. It's not the number one box office movie of the year. Avengers Infinity War is. If you want to use box office as a metric as to whether or not something should be nominated for Best Picture, then you're just proving the argument that other people have that it should have been Avengers Infinity War and not Black Panther. And by the way, since when is box office any sign of quality? Do you know how much money a lot of those pieces of garbage Transformers movies made? Are you making an argument that they should have gotten Oscar consideration? Is that what you're doing right now? Do you know how much money the 50 Shades movies made? Are you going to make an argument they should get some awards consideration? Because they made money. That's a ridiculous thing. So, movies with better Rotten Tomatoes ratings didn't get Best Picture nomination. Movies with equal to or better cinema scores did not get Best Picture consideration. And movies that made more money than Black Panther at the box office didn't get Best Picture nominations. So sorry, you can feel, again, let me stress this. If you like Black Panther enough that you feel it deserved a Best Picture nomination, I have no argument with you. That's your subjective opinion. It's different than my subjective opinion, but that's okay. If you feel that way, aces. Great. I'm happy for you. Congratulations. We're all glad that a comic book movie got a Best Picture nomination. But don't come in here with this garbage of, oh, Rotten Tomatoes, others were better, didn't get nominated. Oh, Cinema Score, others were better, didn't get nominated. Oh, Box Office, others were better and didn't get nominated. Don't come in here with that. Don't come in here with that. Come on. Come on, Alpha. But again, look, dude, if you liked it enough that you feel it should be nominated, you don't need to make up these excuses. You don't need to come up with these weak arguments. Just say, I feel it deserved it, and that, Alpha, is good enough. That's good enough. Your opinion is good enough. So you don't need this other weak stuff. Get out of here with that. All right. Charlie Gray writes, did you see the piece Philip DeFranco did today on the Oscars? The Whisper campaign was very interesting. No, I didn't. I like Philip DeFranco, but I have not. I've not seen that piece. Razor's Edge Frisbee writes, finally saw Spider-Verse. John and Rob loved it. Smiled like an idiot the entire time. This may creep its way into my top 10 comic book movies. My second favorite movie of 2018. Oh, it didn't creep its way into my top 10. It bulldozed its way into my top 10. It bulldozed its way into my top 10. And it is my third favorite movie of the year. To me, easily the best comic book movie of the year. And the best animated movie of the year. And should have been nominated for Best Picture, but it wasn't, so whatever. It's okay. But yeah, I love that movie, and I'm glad you enjoyed it too. Trojan of Narnia. By the way, how great is it that we can be comic book fans, and the debate we're having is which one of the three fantastic comic book movies should have got Best Picture nomination? Wrap your heads around. Seriously, stop for a second and ponder that. We are having debates about which of the three comic book films this year should have and could have been nominated for Best Picture. How amazing is that? How incredible is that? How incredible is it that we get to have a comic book movie nominated for Best Picture and we get to debate about whether the right one did? That's how good comic book movies are right now. That's an amazing thing to me. That to me is an amazing thing. All right. Trojan of Narnia writes, over under 25%, we see Alden Ehrenreich As Han Solo again, I think under. Look, I think Alden did a great job. I think Solo was a very good, very fun space adventure movie. Robert and I agree on this one totally. I think what Ron Howard did with Solo was fantastic. However, none of that changes the fact that it's a movie that never should have been made in the first place. We just had Harrison Ford as Han Solo. Nobody was looking for another Han Solo movie without Harrison Ford as Han Solo. Wait 10 years, wait 15 years. We just had the real thing on screen, and now you're going to give us a substitute? Now? I said it from the day they announced this movie. Nobody is asking for this movie. Nobody's asking for a Harrison Ford-less Han Solo movie. They should never make it. And I liked the movie. I thought it was gangbusters. I thought it was great fun. But it shouldn't have been made. And it flopped. Thanks to all the reshoot expense. I mean, it would have broken even. It would have even made money if they didn't have to reshoot most of the movie, but they did. And it ended up losing the money. Disney is not in the business of having their movies lose money, my friends. So at this point, I think it's under 25%. Again, I ain't going to say 0. I won't even say under 5%. But I will definitely take under 25% that we see Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo again. But I liked him in it. I did. Adam K. writes. Where'd Adam go? There he is. Adam K. writes, only 3 of your top 10 got best pictures. Surprise? No, not at all. Look, it's really a testament to... there's a lot of really good movies this year. A lot of really good movies. And the only one I'm upset at that didn't get on the list was... A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place to me was the best movie of 2018. And it didn't get nominated. Oh well. I'm not calling it a snub. I thought it was the best film of the year, but there were a lot of really good films. I knew Roma was going to get nominated, but I didn't put it on my top 10 because I don't actually like Roma. I'm one of the only people on the planet that doesn't like Roma. But Black Klansman was on my top 10, got in there. Black Klansman was actually my number 2 favorite film of the year. Green Book got in there. A Star is Born got in there. But none of my 6 to 10 films made it. 3 out of my 5 to 1 films got in there. None of my 6 to 10, which I thought was pretty funny. But no, honestly, if you had asked me, I probably would have guessed 4 or 5 of my top 10 would have been nominated. So the fact that 3 did is real close. So no, not really surprised. Not surprised at all. Watcher X writes, Joker is my favorite character, and honestly, I hate the new costume. Looks more like a circus clown who touches children than I'm used to. Hope the film is great. Dude, what? Have you read any of the Joker? Have you seen some of the Joker's costumes? A lot of the Joker's costumes in the comic books are just like that. And by the way, I have a feeling the way Joaquin Phoenix, again, this is why I always tell people, who cares about the costumes? Who cares? Wait till we see Joaquin Phoenix playing the role. Because I have a feeling that when we see Joaquin Phoenix playing that role, that him wearing those clothes is going to accentuate something about the character. And I think it's going to be awesome and gangbusters. I don't know. I'm just speculating as a fan just like you. So I'm saying I wouldn't worry about it at all. Don't let yourself get worried, Roger, over the costume. Who cares? Who cares? What really matters is what kind of Joker are they giving us, and how is Joaquin Phoenix, one of the best actors on the planet, how is he going to play that character? And I think he's going to do something incredible with it that'll make the costume make sense and add to the creepiness and the darkness of it. I just do. That's just what I think is going to happen. So I would say let's not worry about it right now. Don't fret about it. Just be excited that we got Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, because I think that's insane. Thiago Oliveira writes, Hey, John, big fan from Brazil here. Well, thank you so much, man. Quiet Place totally snubbed. I'm so disappointed. Do you think the whole best popular thing has to do with Black Panther and Bohemian Rhapsody getting nominated? Do I believe there was dumb pressure being put on the Academy by people to just nominate popular films? Yeah. And I think the fans are part of that. I think that is something dumb the fans have done. The fans have basically been pressuring the Academy for years. Nominate popular films. I saw this film and I loved it and you're not nominated. Yeah, but you only saw 5 movies this year. You didn't see the 200 films this year. I don't care. Nominate the one I saw. The Academy's been getting that pressure for years and years and years and years. Do I believe that is a very real element? Yes. You'd have to be naive not to acknowledge that's a real element. But I also believe that a lot of the Academy members just felt Black Panther was one of the best pictures of the year. And a lot of the Academy members just felt the way I felt about Bohemian Rhapsody. Now, I wouldn't have nominated for Best Picture, but some of them clearly felt it was. So was that outside influence there? Sure, absolutely. Was it the deciding factor? I don't think so. The influence, yes. Deciding factor? Nah, I don't think so. But that's just me. That's just my guess. All right. Thiago Oliveira also writes, also, do you think about coming to Brazil's Comic-Con CCXP? It's a great event, and it would be awesome to have you here. Dude, I'll be honest with you, I never really thought about it until this past year's Comic-Con in Brazil. That looked insane. I would love to. I would love to. My one apprehension is that it's bloody expensive. It looks like it'd be bloody expensive. Got to get on a plane, fly down there, all that kind of stuff. It adds up. That adds up, my friends. And now that, I work for myself, I got to pay for that stuff myself with my own cheddar. So I don't know if I realistically can. I don't know if I can, but it would be fun. I think it would be fun. I've never been to Brazil. I'd have to visit I'd have to visit a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu school somewhere if I go to Brazil. I can't set foot in Brazil and not visit a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu school. But I've thought about it, man. I have thought about it. All right. Hemingway J writes, over under 30%. Tom Hanks wins a 3rd Oscar before he retires. Oh, I'll take the over on that. I'm not going to say 90% or anything like that, but I'll take the over on 30. Dude's got a good 15, 20 years of acting left in him. And he just consistently delivers at an incredibly high level. Ann and I just went to go see him perform in Shakespeare on stage. We went to a live stage production with a very intimate audience, only about 150 people. And we got to watch Tom Hanks performing Shakespeare. Amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I loved it. Does he have another Oscar under his belt? I think he does. This isn't the year. But maybe next year, because he's playing Mr. Rogers again next year. He's playing Mr. Rogers next year in a movie, so maybe that'll be the year. And if not then, maybe 5 years from now. But another one before he retires, I'm going to say yes. Tommy Conlon writes, over under 30%, Venom crosses into the MCU. Just think of how imposing Hardy would be to Holland. Oh, nothing. That would be nothing. Tom Hardy's a big dude, but he ain't a huge dude. Right? And the imposing part of Hardy in the movie wouldn't be Hardy, it would be Venom. We're not going to see Venom cross over into the MCU. At least not under the current agreement. And that's going to last, because they're going to extend this agreement now, and it's going to last for years, so no time soon. Because that would de facto mean that the Sony universe and Marvel's MCU share the same universe, and neither Sony nor Marvel want to do that at this point. So I will take well under 30%. I'm not saying never, but for the immediate future that we live in, I don't think in the immediate future, no. Brian Clark writes, I had never seen a single episode of Parks and Rec, and you finally convinced me to start binging. 4 episodes in, envy me, sir. I do envy you, and guess what? Here's the good news. The first season is easily the worst season. So if you're in Parks and Rec and having a good time with it already, here's the great news. You're watching the worst season of Parks and Rec. It only gets better and better and better. And I know that feels weird to say because the first season is actually quite good. Believe me when I tell you it's the worst. I do envy you, sir. I do envy you. Congratulations and good luck on watching the rest of that, man. I envy you so much. I'll never be able to watch Parks and Rec for the first time again. Never. And you get to do it right now, so that's pretty enviable. All right. Ed Musto writes, cultural significance over film quality, not fair. Again, Ed, Let's not make excuses. Nobody in the Academy, look, like I said, I am business partners with somebody who's a voting member of the Academy. She didn't vote for Black Panther because it's culturally significant. She voted for it because it was one of her favorite films of the year. She thought it was one of the best films of the year. So don't buy into the mob talk. Don't buy into all the mob going blah, 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 blah. Like, again, I don't think it should have been nominated, but let's not devolve into mob speak about, oh, they did because of this. No, no, no. They never said that. They voted for it because they thought it was one of the best of the year. And we can debate that, and we can agree or disagree with that. I disagree with it, and that's fine. But let's not make up excuses as to why they voted a certain way when you don't know them. So let's not make up excuses, Ed. Let's not make up excuses. All right. Kayla Cohn writes, listen, I know I'm in the minority here, but I adore Bohemian Rhapsody. I do too. I wouldn't have nominated for Best Picture, but I adore that film. So much that I went to see it 22 times. Holy crap. No movie has ever affected me that much. Well, Kayla, more money to you. And look, I adored that movie too. I've told this story before, but for the most part, I skip press screenings these days. I don't go to many, if any. Very, very rarely. It has to be a movie I'm really looking forward to go to a press screening. So I had seen early buzz and early reviews for Bohemian Rhapsody, and they were kind of mixed. They leaned positive, but they were kind of mixed. So I didn't know what to expect. Ann and I went in and watched it, and we came out buzzing. We both loved it. And I got on Twitter right away and I write, I don't know what everybody else is seeing, but I thought Bohemian Rhapsody was fantastic. I think the movie's fantastic. Again, I wouldn't have voted for it, but oh my God, 22 times? Hell, girl. I didn't even go see Lord of the Rings Return of the King 22 times. Good on you. Good on you. And super happy for you that a movie you adore so much got nominated for Best Picture. That's amazing. All right. Sin Vendetta writes, with buying movies, I'm about 98% digital. The only movie series I buy physical are Harry Potter, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and Deadpool. And I'm kind of with you on that, Sin Vendetta. I don't buy physical media. All right. I haven't for a long time. I'm a digital purchase guy. I buy my things in digital. I keep my movies in the cloud. That's where I like them. They never get lost. They never get damaged. They never get borrowed and forgotten to returned. They're always there. I can be on a plane, pop open my phone, and watch them if I want. That's the great thing about digital media. And I love it, and it's great. But when there's a movie I super, super loved, and I'm at a Best Buy or something, and I see an Infinity War, a Black Panther, a Quiet Place, I'm tempted to go yoink and maybe pick one up. I've maybe bought 5 discs in the last 5 years, but I can see where you're saying. I can see the appeal that if you're really a super fan of something, that there's just something nice about having that tangible, physical thing in your hand. And I get that. I do. But like you, I'm also mostly a digital guy. All my movies are in Google Play. All right. Robert Mitchell. Where did he go? Where did Robert Mitchell go? Oh, there he goes. Robert Mitchell writes, do you think Shazam will have a cameo of other DC characters? No, I really don't. I never did think that they would. And then when the WB executive the other day said, we're moving away from shared cinematic universes. We're focusing on standalone superhero movies, blah, blah, blah. That to me kind of drove it home that we're not going to see cameos. Now, I think there are going to be references. Even in the trailer, we see a Batman symbol and we see a Superman headline on a newspaper. So will there be references? I believe we're going to get references. Do I believe we're actually going to get a full-fledged cameo? No, I don't think so. It really feels like Warner Brothers leaning away. Now, I ain't saying it's impossible. Certainly not. Certainly not impossible. But I suspect they won't. So that's the way I'm leaning right now. Who knows? Let's wait and see what happens. Cameron Armakwi Modig writes, was the director of Commando aware back then that the movie was cheesy and dumb? I think they were always aware it was cheesy. By the way, the name of the director's eluding me. The guy who directed Commando is also the guy who directed Firestarter with Drew Barrymore. Hold a second. Commando, IMDb. Well, it's his name again. It was the same guy who directed Firestarter. And I love Firestarter, by the way. Mark L. Lester, who directed Firestarter, and also White Rush. He directed that as well. Did they think it was cheesy? Sure. I mean, I think a lot of people who were making these movies in the 80s understood their movies were kind of cheesy, but they also probably felt they were good. And they are. A lot of those movies are cheesy, but really good at the same time. So I think they felt they were making something really fun and worthwhile for people to go see at the movie theater. Commando came out in 1985, and I think I just watched that again last year. I think I just watched that. Remember when I said I would kill you last? I lied. It's great. It's great. Come on. Did you know it was like cheesy? Sure. But that's what those action films were meant to be. Dumb? I don't know. I didn't think Commando was dumb. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me waxing poetic a bit. All right. Final question of this video, guys, comes to us from Casinema, who writes, fanboys whine about Luke's arc in The Last Jedi, but never suggest a better arc. They just want fan service action stuff. Do fanboys hate character development? Well, here's the thing. I, as a lifelong fan of Star Wars, who knows more about Star Wars than most, not all, but most, when people say to me, and friends of mine have said, oh, that wasn't Luke Skywalker. I'm like, then you don't know anything about Luke Skywalker. You may pretend to know about Luke Skywalker, but if you think what we got in The Last Jedi wasn't true Luke Skywalker, then I got to ask if you've ever seen Star Wars, or if you've ever seen Empire Strikes Back, or if you've ever seen Return of the Jedi. Because I'm telling you right now, that was extremely consistent with who Luke Skywalker is, and the patterns he's had in his life, and the things he has experienced, and where that could lead somebody to be at a certain point in their lives. I thought, look, everybody knows I had my issues with The Last Jedi, but I thought the stuff with Luke was brilliant. However, that doesn't mean everybody has to feel the same way. That doesn't mean everybody has to feel the same way. There are people I know who are lifelong Star Wars fans like me that watched the stuff in Last Jedi and they didn't like it. Okay, fair enough. I did. A lot of people did. A lot of people didn't. That's okay. It doesn't mean they don't like character development. It just means that didn't work for them. It apparently worked for you, Casinema. It worked for me, certainly. But it doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. And again, I would hesitate to say, let's not make up excuses why those people didn't like Luke stuff by saying, you just don't like character development. No, I'm pretty sure they like character development. It just didn't work for them. It didn't work for them. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the subjectivity of film. And we all have to get that, and we all got to understand it. We all got to embrace it to one degree or another. All right, guys, that will do it for this installment of the companion videos. Thanks so much for being here. Listen, we do have more questions to get caught up on, so I've got another companion video, maybe even coming later tonight, maybe tomorrow. Keep your eyes open for that. That'll be coming along here pretty soon. Listen, guys, don't forget, for those of you who are Patreon supporters, and thank you so much for those of you who are, on Friday, and you might even be watching this on Friday, but on Friday, the newest Patreon-exclusive podcast, Best of the Week, with me, Robert Meyer Burnett, and Ashley Whalen, is going to be coming out. Keep your eyes open for that. If you're a Patreon supporter, keep your eyes open for your notification there for that. All right, guys, that'll do it for me. Thanks for being here. My name's John Campia, and until the next companion video, bye-bye.